That desire to help soon put her behind the wheel of a van headed to Guatemala. Once there, she sought advice from a local pastor.
The pastor told me, well, have you ever seen the dump? Have you ever seen the Guatemalan dump? And I said, the Guatemalan dump? I've never even heard of it, you know. And he said, well, you haven't seen anything yet. If you've seen all these other poor sections, you haven't seen anything until you've seen the dump. So we went down there, and when I saw the dump, it was just like a peace. You know, there was such a peace that I got from being there. I said, this is it. You know, he says, well, go for it. If this is what God's showing you to do, go for it.
This is Kari's new home. These are her neighbors. But this is the reason she came. Before opening the school, Kari spent an entire year in the dump. She did so to gain the trust of the people.
Va, ya vas a venir. No!
In the process, she received a first-hand education on their problems and way of life.
They're using the cardboard for sure. They're probably going to use it for their house to help reinforce their house and prepare it for the rainy season that's coming up. And rainy season is really rough because all this becomes mud and slush and you just sink a lot in the mud. Got a glue sniffer up there. He's getting out his glue, get his fix. High behind that wall, he's talking to himself. But whatever they're hallucinating, you know, you never know what they're hallucinating. So he threw a bottle at us. Did you see the bottle he threw at us? Then he hid it right behind the wall and took out his glue thing.
We spoke with a few of the dump's residents, and while the circumstances that put them here varied, they all shared a desire for a better life.
¿Por qué no quieres irte?
Why don't you want to leave?
Because my family lives here, and this is where we've always lived.
Tu familia. Y no quiere irte.
So you do want to leave?
Well, yes, certainly. Well, I want to leave one day.
¿Sí?
To where?
Wherever I can go.
This little boy on my right is Gustavo, and he's been with me in the school for the 2 years that I've had the school. He's been orphaned here on the dump, and a family took him in. I'd really like to come and see him be at the home. He's really underweight. He's 12 years old, and he's very malnutrition and has a problem in his learning abilities. But we're just praying that he's going to become better and become what God wants him to become, right?
As a king is born to the throne, so are the children born to the dump. Their world is a birthright they never asked for. They are the dump's most tragic victims. But at 7:30 each morning, those victims now have hope, because that's when their school day begins at Mi Refugio.
You know, we start with 10, 12-year-olds that don't even know how to read and write, hold a pencil, how to color. Well, it's been such a different atmosphere for them that they've just gotten really adjusted rapidly to the system here at the school, and they love it. It's a joyful place for them. It's a change of pace for them. They're not always running through the dump all day, but at least they get a new experience, you know, with the materials that we get and all the colors. We try to make everything colorful so that they can get out of the black and smoke and all those things that depressing, you know, down the dump. The children have such needs emotionally and physically. They've been either abused physically or sexually or emotionally, that it's just traumatized them, and it's caused them trouble in their studies also. So our main emphasis not is in the studying or in the eating, Our main emphasis is have them to know the Lord so that the Lord can heal them of their wounds that they've had in their life. At the end of the first year, I got all the kids together, you know, and I was really proud of them. They had come a long way. For kids who had never studied before, you know, they were learning colors, they were learning how to write, they were learning how to write their name. They were even some of them learned how to read in that first year. A, B, C. And it was just a blessing to see how much they had progressed.
The end of the first school year brought Kari the feeling of success. The only complaint she heard from her children was that they had to leave for summer break.
It was the end of October and we were finishing up our last activities, and I said, you know, I'm really proud of you guys. You guys have come a long way. You've learned how to read and write. Some of them are going to first grade, some are going to second grade. You've just come a long way.
For some of the children that attend Mi Refugio, it's more than just a school. It's become home.
I've had 9 kids that have been abandoned to me here at the school. 3 of the brothers were drug addicts. They were glue sniffers, and they would just come high. They'd be left on the street. Their mother would just abandon them completely. She'd go off with other men and drink herself and get into drugs herself, and the boys would be on the street. They'd beg for bread, and they'd just come dirty and filthy. Even the other kids would reject them because they were even dirtier than the rest of them.
When we first visited Kari in early 1990, Mi Refugio had a total enrollment of about 50 children. One year later, the school has grown over to 100 students with 2 locations, both close to the dump. But the year was not without sadness. The Guatemalan government thought it was inappropriate for a single American woman to care for the 9 children who made Mi Refugio their full-time home. The government demanded the children be sent to foster homes. Within 3 months, the children had run away from the foster homes and were back in the dump. We were there when one of the children, Juan Carlos, came back to the school to visit with Kari.
This is one of the boys that I used to have at the house, one of the 9 kids that ran away when he knew that the court system was going to take him away. This is Juan Carlos. He's 13 years old, and his brothers and sisters make him sniff glue just to keep him on the same level as they are. But he really doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to sniff glue, and he never wanted to leave the house. And when I told the courts that he was back in the dump sniffing glue and was dirty and wasn't eating properly, they just said that they were glad that he wasn't with me anymore. He's been real hesitant to come back because he's afraid that they're going to take him away. The court system apologized for what they've done, but it's really too late for me to take the kids in without damaging them emotionally again. And today he came to visit me, and he's telling me right now that a little girl died in the dump and that they're going to have a funeral for her.
This is a wall of sorrow. It contains the remains of infants and preschool children. But for those children who die in the dump, there'll be no marker. It's as if they never existed. Of the 9 children whom the government removed from Kari's care, only 1 was able to escape the dump's deadly grip. Kari was able to convince the government to place Gustavo Rivera in the care of her friend Robert Rose. The boy who was abandoned in the dump was given a chance to succeed, and he made the most of it.